Alright guys, so let's begin with the development section. So today we'll be making the UI portion of our Tic-Tac-Toe app, and I'll show you guys what the app will look like. Yeah, so this will be our login screen. This is a simple heading. This is a button to change the theme of the app, and we'll add the functionality to it in the later sessions. So this is a player A name, player B name, and start button. Then this is how the actual game will look like. These are all the grids. This is the reset score. This is the end game. These are the scores of both the players counted. And here you can tap to play the game. Yeah. So, and these are a few colors which we'll need to theme our app, and I've already stored them as constants. So these are the codes of the constants. You can, if you get the code X codes, you can just wrap them in a color and they'll reference to that color. Yeah. So let's start with the main.art file. The main.art file, it's a simple file. In the void main, we have run app, const my app, and my app is a stateless widget which returns a material app with the title Tic-Tac-Toe Flutter Festival, and it has the home as a start screen. So let's see what the start screen is. Yeah, so start screen is also a stateful widget, and start screen is a stateful widget, and it returns a scaffold with the background color black and the body container, and the body is a container. Let's see what it looks like. I think I don't have a emulator. Let me just check that. Yeah, okay, so I do have an emulator. Let's run an app and let's see how it looks like right now. Yeah, so as expected, it's just a black screen and the container has nothing inside it. So let's begin with putting in our heading first, the tic-tac-toe part of that. So just close these buffers. So the body will be wrapped in a center, and as you can see, okay, so the layout seems like it's going down, so most probably we'll use, so it's pretty clear that we have to use a column. So let's wrap everything, let's put the child of the center as a column, as you can see, and let's put in the children's. So to get text on the screen, let's start with that. Now, if I just run the app right now, you won't be able to see the text because the screen is black, and as well as the color of our text is also black. So let's change the color first. And we can change that by giving it a style, text style. Color equals to colors dot white. Now, as you can see, we have a text here at the back. It's behind the camera cutout, so it's not really useful for us right now. So let's give it a padding. Let's say you need to give it a padding from the top. Let's say 200. Let's see how far that brings it down. I think we need to bring it out a little more. 250. I think that works for us right now. Yeah. So let's change the font size also. 260. I think the font style matches. I think we can bring it down a little bit more. Actually, I think it's fine. I mean, you can always tweak these things a little bit. So, but one thing you'll notice which is different is the font. So in this session, what I wanted was to add a library, add a package, so that you guys understand how to use packages. So to do that, we'll be using, and there's a very handy package called Google Fonts. Usually adding a font is a lot of work. You need to add the TTF files, in assets and then use them. You need to download the files and everything. What Google Fonts library does, it allows us to use the fonts, Google Fonts, directly in our code without importing anything. So let me just get that. Okay, so to add Google Fonts to our project, we'll write this in our terminal. Flutter pub add Google Fonts. Google underscore fonts is the name of the library, and add will add that to our project. So now we have the library. So let's change the text style. Now we'll use the Google style. Google Fonts dot. Let's use Nunito. Yeah. So the font which we'll be using is called Nunito. Yeah. And the color we'll use is K dot blue color. K blue color. Yeah. Let's see how it looks. Unimplemented. Let's see what's happening here. I think if we restart the app, it should work. Okay, yeah. Okay, so sometimes hot reload doesn't work, so it gives a lot of errors. So try hot restarting the app, especially after you add a library or something. So that will usually resolve these types of errors. So let's change the font size back to 60 and the color to blue color. Yeah. Yeah, so that looks a lot like what we have here. Cool. Okay. So let's add the icon, or should we add the text field first? Let's add the text field first. Yeah, after this. If you add a text field right now, it is there, but since there's no styling, you won't be able to see anything. So what I'll do is, I already have the styling. I'll just 1 second. Yeah. So first we need to set the cursor color. Since the color of this is green, we also set the cursor color as green. K dot green color. Yeah. So now at least our cursor is looking green. Next we'll use the style. Google Fonts dot color will also set as K dot green color. And the font size, what should we set the font size as? I think let's go with 20. Just that. Yeah. So now it looks like this. But one thing is weird. The text is starting from the edge of the screen. We don't want that now, do we? So let's put a padding on this also. let's bring it a little bit down. First, I guess 20, and from the left and right, I guess we'll give it a 40. Now it looks like the correct size, I think. No, we still need to make it a bit smaller, I guess. See, now this is all up to you, right? You can always style the app a little bit according to yourself. Let's do 70. Uh, yeah, 70. Looks a lot better. And now, but the thing is, look at this. This is so much different than what we have right now. To do that, we'll change the decoration. Text form field has an attribute called decoration, and that takes an input decoration. So, first of all, we'll add a label text. So the label text is player A name. So we have that now. And the style of the label style will also make the label style the same as this. Sounds fair, yes. So green. Now we have a lot of green. But still, it's not looking the same as what we have. Let's, for the enable border. Now, enable border, let's see what the documentation says. The border to display when the input decorator is enabled and is not showing an error. So which means the current state of our, when the cursor is showing, then for how the border of the text form field should look like. So what input does enable border take? Let's see. It takes an input border. So there's something called outline input border. We'll use that. No change. I don't know why. Let's see. Let's add a little more input. Borders radius. No, let's do border side first. Now, border side has the syntax of basically border side. Let's see what it says in the documentation. Creates a rounded rectangular outline border for the input decorator. If border side parameter is border side or none, it will not draw a border. However, it will still define a shape. So basically, we're adding a rounded rectangular border, and we need the color to change. So color should be K green. K green. Still not getting anything. Let's see if maybe if we want to restart. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is what it looks like in the start, and I think we can decrease the size a little bit. Let's make this 15. Yeah, that looks a lot like this, a lot more like this, to say the least. But we also need it to look like this when we are focused on the text form field. So there's another uh, attribute called focused border, and we'll also put the same in that. See, yeah, now it looks much better. Let's restart the app to unfocus. So now it looks like this, and when I tap on it, it looks like what we wanted. This is basically what it will turn into. It looks a lot better now and a lot more uniform. Now we need the exact same text form field at the bottom. So what we'll do is we'll just copy all of this and we'll just change the color. See, yeah, and the name, player B name. So let's change the, it's red, right? Yeah, it's red. have to change it everywhere, I guess. Yeah, so this looks a lot better. It looks a lot like this, which we were aiming for. So let's add the button now. So start button. Yeah. We'll use something called elevated button. And for now, we'll keep the on press empty. We'll add the logic to it later. And let's put the child as a text widget. Uh, Start. Let's see how this looks like. So this looks like that. I think we'll add padding to it so that it goes a little bit down. That looks way better. Now what we'll do is we'll also add a style to this. Google Fonts Nunito. Let's go with the yellow color. Right now we are giving these hard colors, but the theme feature which we'll add in the next session, that will really impress and like the color of all these elements will vary with that. So okay, low color and font size. What font size should we give? Let's try 20. Does this look like that? I think it looks like that, but the color, I think the blue color is not matching. Let's see if elevated button has a color attribute. It doesn't. It has a style attribute. Now we don't want to change all of the style. That like elevated button has a inbuilt elevation and internal padding. We don't want to change that. We just want to change the color. So what we'll do is we'll do elevated button dot style from. Now what this does is it will just change the color. You can like you have the inbuilt style from this, and once you enter the field into this, let's say background color, yeah. So now it will have the default style of the elevated button, but the background color will be the one which you input. So we'll go with our blue color and not the default one. And I think that will look better. Yeah, so that looks a lot like. So now I think we're almost done with the full screen. All that is left is the palette icon. Apart from that, I think the buttons and everything are pretty much done. So let's go back to the top because, so yeah, it's a column and we have given a padding of 250, but now we want to add a palette icon. Let's see how we can do that. We'll use a icon button. We'll use something called icon button, and let's leave the on press empty for now, an empty function for now. We'll add the functionality to it later. And for the icon, I guess we'll use icons.palette. Was it palette or was it something else? No, it was color lens outline. Yeah. So yeah, so these are inbuilt icons which Flutter provides. Okay, so we are getting the error that the argument type icon data can't be assigned to the parameter type widget. Okay, so instead of giving the icon data, we'll need to wrap it in an icon, and an icon takes the icon data. Icons dot color lens outline. Check. So now we're still not seeing anything, but something shifted down. So which means something did come up there. Why I'm not seeing anything? It's because the color of this is black and the background color is also black. So what color should we give it? We are going to give it red color. Okay, so something is just behind this. Okay, so I think what we can do is we'll wrap the icon button in a padding also. and from the top we'll give it a padding of, let's say, 50. Yeah, so that makes it visible. But the thing is, this also shifted down. So what we'll do is we'll reduce the padding of this by 50, so that at least it's at the same height as before. That looks way better now. Yeah, so the render overflix which came right now, that's just due to the start button and the a part of the text field being covered by the keyboard. You can ignore that. It's not a big error. Yeah, so now what we can do is, but the location of it seems a little bit different. I mean, I think this looks great also, but but we'll bring it to the corner because it seems like it, it's like sideways, so it won't really budge in the UI. So let's give it a padding of right 100. Not enough, I guess 200. Oh, sorry, not enough. Still 400. A little too much. I guess let's give it 380. Didn't budge much. 350. Yeah, I think that looks close enough. All right. So we are done with the start screen. I think we've achieved a pretty close look. Is there if you guys have any doubt before we move on to the next screen, if you guys have any doubt, just put it in the chat and I'll address to those. Okay, since there's no doubt, we'll move on. All right. So now we'll connect the start screen and the grid screen later. Let's make a new screen first. All right, and basically what we want for the flow is that when the user presses start screen, if player A and player B name is empty, it won't go. But if the name is not empty, then it will move on to the next, move on to the grid screen. So let me just import Flutter. All right, and let's make a stateful widget. We'll call it grid screen. All right, so let's see how the grid screen looks. So we have icon here, an icon here, the scores here in the form of text, and then there's a grid of 9 boxes, 3 into 3. So this also is in a very column-like format. What you'll find is most of the apps are in column format, since of course the aspect ratio of phone is such that a row format is not really supported. So let's begin with the column. To test our main screen, what we'll do is instead of start screen, we'll just call the grid screen here. Yeah, so we're just getting a placeholder right now. So let's return a scaffold. Background color should be colors.black. Missing a colon there. All right. Yeah, so an empty screen. Body. So let's give it a center. and the child as column. Alright, so the first thing we have is that we have a row of two icons. So let's make that children, row, and again children. And these are, last time we used icon button, but I also show you guys one other alternative, which is sometimes more preferred since icon button usually have an internal padding which is not needed sometimes. There are ways to remove that, but this is usually easier to make. So the other thing is you make an icon. Let me just check which icon we are using. Icon start, restart, alt. Alright, and what color do we have to give? I have to give it the blue color. So we can see an icon at the top. Yeah, so the position is very bad right now, but we'll fix that by adding a padding later. And let's add another icon. Icon dot. Oh, the other one is close. We'll give it a color of yellow. So see, they are right next to each other, but this is not the placement that we want. So what we'll do is, let's see, we'll give a padding to it. Const only top. Let's bring it down. I guess let's try 50 first. No, too less. 80. Still a little less. And okay, 100 is not it. How much more do we need? I think we're almost there though. I think we can do with 120. Yeah, but we're still nowhere near what we want. So what we'll do is we'll also give it a padding of left. I think rather than left, what we can do is we'll give the alignment to column, main axis, cross axis dot alignment. Center. That didn't work. Why? Let's see. If you're unsure about things, why things don't work, you can always wrap things in a container and give the color to a container to check the size and everything. Okay, so it's pretty clear why things are not working out for us. The row is taking the complete length of the phone, so cross alignment or center doesn't actually make sense here. It's not that the row is just wrapping the icons, it's taking the complete length anyways. So what we should do instead is use the main axis alignment dot center in here. That will make things centered. See? Yeah, so this is one of the way of troubleshooting things. But we still need a little bit of gap between both of these. So what we can do is we can just give padding to one of these. Or instead of that, we can use the size box also. And we can give the size box a width of, size box is just like a container, but it takes a size and it won't adapt to its child. So if we do that, see, they separated a little bit. Let's separate them a little bit more. Let's do 80. Start near enough. No, I think we still need to go more. So that's 120. I think 120 is a little bit less. Yeah, it's a little bit less. Let's go 150. Yeah. So you get the point basically. If you still feel like you should go more, you can increase the size. Anyways, just add a const next to it. Const basically improves the performance during compile time. Alright, so now I was saying, instead of icon button, we'll use something else. We'll add something called gesture detector. Basically, gesture detector, what it does is, what? Yeah. I don't know why that wasn't showing up. Yeah, so that happens sometimes. It's a problem with the ID or sometimes. Exactly. So what it does, it gives a property called on tap to whatever it's wrapping, to its child. So whenever, like for example, if I add a print statement here, so when I will restart this, whenever I tap the restart alt icon, a tab will come. So this is basically mirroring the functionality of icon button. And yeah, we'll just wrap this with the gesture detector and tap. Yeah, and we'll remove this. Try to avoid print statements in the code. It pollutes the console. Although of course you can use it when debugging code. You need to use it. Okay, so now we're done with the icons. Let's move on to the text. So this was the first row which we had, and the text is what is this here? Oh, right. So we need to add it after padding. Yeah. So we'll use the row to make these two text elements. So player A name, I guess, and let's just hardcode text right now. Later we'll add the functionality, and then another text, player B name. So we won't see anything right now because the colors of both the text is black. So what we'll do is we'll change the color. So we'll style it according to our previous style which we are following, Google Fonts.nonito. Let me just copy that. I think I'll copy that style from here. Yeah, so it's here, and we'll do the same for this. Let's add a little bit of spacing, size box width 20, and let's change the color. I think we can make the color green and red. Yeah, all right. And I think the font size is also a little bit small, so we can increase that to 20. Hmm. 20 seems a bit large, but okay. So you can change it according to your needs. You can also make it, I guess, 17. Yeah, but we are still not correct in the positioning. So we'll also wrap this row in a padding. First, we'll give it a distance of, let's say, 40. Yeah, that's low enough, I think. Or let's just check. I think we can give it a little bit more. It's 250. Nope. It's 270. Anyways, you get the point. You can change the height using this according to your styling needs. You don't really have to follow this style. This is just what we made in the first iteration. And now we'll also change the main axis alignment of this to center things. Yeah, works great. Now to the new widget. Okay, so we didn't teach you this in the previous section, but there are two ways to go about this. You can add containers individually using columns and rows. You'll have to make 9 containers, but that's not really the recommended way. What we'll do is we'll use something called grid view builder. Let's show you guys what a grid view builder is. All right, I think we'll just make this. This is a grid view builder is really helpful. Now 1 second. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we were here, grid view builder. So a grid delegate is, I'll show you guys what a grid delegate is. Grid delegate takes the, for our purpose, we'll use a silver grid delegate with fixed cross access count. It basically provides information uh, to the grid view builder, and we'll give it a cross access count of 3. And okay, let's leave it at that, and we'll change the rest later according to our needs. And then there's the item builder, which will take the context and index. Yeah. Now what we want to do is return a container. Height, let's give it 100. Or should we give it, I think 100 would be too much. Give it 50 and width 50. And colors dot gray. Let's try gray. And I think we need to let it know how many we want. So we'll also have an item count. Let's give 9. So nothing happened. Let's see why. Can we get an error? Yeah, we got an error. Okay, so the grid view builder didn't have a height, so it kept on expanding, and it went beyond the size of the column and went beyond the size of the screen. So we'll add another thing called true, shrink wrap true. And basically what this does it that now the grid view builder will only take the size which its child will take. We still have one more error. Okay, I think everything works now. Okay, so hot reload again fixed this error. So yeah, that happens sometimes. I didn't really change anything. Okay, yeah. So hot reload fixed that error. Now you'll see that that just looks like a one single container. There's no gap in between. It doesn't look like what we want at all. So we can fix that by changing the main axis spacing. We'll add a main axis spacing of 10 and a cross axis spacing of 10. Now that looks like a grid, but it still doesn't look like the grid which we have here. And the color doesn't even match. We can fix the color. We can, I think it's just a darker shade of gray. So using this, you can get the darker shades of many color. You can just add square brackets and a number. So yeah, I think the color matches now. Yeah. But we still need to change the shape of the container. So we'll use a box decoration. And okay, so this is because we have specified a decoration, but still the color attribute is outside. So once you specify box decoration, you need to put the color inside the box decoration. See, yeah. So we'll add a border radius dot circle 10. Let's try 10. Yeah, 10 works. Still looks a bit weird though. Okay, so we need to add horizontal padding. That what makes it look weird. So we'll wrap this in a, no, we don't actually need to wrap, I think. Yeah, so GradView Builder has an inbuilt property called padding, and we'll just use that. It's insets dot only. No, we'll use symmetric this time since we need padding on both sides. So we'll just add a padding of 10 from both sides. It went a little bit above. That's weird. Hmm. Okay, so we'll add a padding from vertical also of 20. That sent it a little down. 40. More down. 80. Yeah, I think that looks better now. Add a const modifier. So now we have the working UI. All we need to do, all that's left. Okay, so now we have at least a functional looking UI, which looks like what we have in the start. The functionality of the game, actual logic and everything, we'll add that in the next session. Let's just end this session after connecting the start screen with the main screen, with the grid screen. So what we'll do is now, so we need to perform certain checks before. Okay, so to go to the next screen, what you do is navigator.push. You need to provide context, which the stateful widget already provides, and a route. You can make a route using material page route builder, and the builder takes a context and it will give the and it will return the screen which we want. So and we want the grid screen. That looks like the correct syntax, and we'll just add a const here. So now what we'll do is to check whether it's working. The start screen here and restart the app. So tapping on the start screen takes you there, but there was a condition which we stated earlier, and that was we don't want to go to the next screen if this is empty. So let's see what we can do about that. Oh yeah, so these are my text form fields, and text form fields have something called onChanged, which gives you a function which has a value. The value is what you have, what the person has typed in this. So what we'll do is we'll define two variables: string player A name and string player B name. And what we'll do is we'll just give the value of this to no, we'll change the player A name to value since this is the first one. So yeah, and for we'll do the same for this one on changed. It also has a value, and player B name equals to value. There's also another way to do this. You can also create a text field controller, which basically contains the value of the text field, and you can use that also, but this is a simpler method. So what we want to do is we'll apply an if check. If player A name not equals to null and player, I just wrote and, oh, okay, and player B name not equals to null. And we'll put it here. By default, since this is a nullable value, so by default, if nobody has input anything, the player A name and player B variable will be null. So which means no name has been entered. Let's see if it works. Spoiler alert, it won't work. It works like this, but now let's do this and then do this. Okay, the fuck it works. If I add something and then do this. Yeah, so even though I had added something and then removed it, it still went to the next screen. That's because after doing that, the player A name is not null actually. What it happens is player A name becomes an empty string. It's not a null string, it's an empty string. So what we'll do is not this, and player B name is not this. So now we added a 2 if layer protection. I think that should cover all the cases. Yeah, yeah, don't go there. Let me just remove this. Yeah, it won't go there. But if you have something, sorry, if you have something, then I think it will allow it to go to the next screen. Yeah, so that works. All right. So what's left? But the thing is, we should also add something to tell the user that why are they not able to go to the next screen. So what we'll add is something called snack bar. Let's add it in our constants. Get snack bar. We'll make a function of it, and what should we give inside that function? I think we'll just make a more general function. We use this function later also while implementing the logic. So let's give it a text, and we'll make a variable. So this is how you usually make a snack bar. Snack bar has a content, so we'll give the content as a size box of height 20, and let's give it a child, enter child text, and give style to that text, Google Fonts beneath. Color, we will give it a black color, and the font size is 20. Just an error. Okay, yeah, so we need to put a semicolon, but I think it won't look that well, so we'll also style it up a little bit. We'll give it a shape. We'll give it a rounded rectangular border shape, and we'll give it a border radius of uh, uh, border radius dot circular of 15, and we'll give it a behavior snack bar dot floating, snack bar behavior. So these are the values floating. That will look cool, and we also want to set a duration seconds. Let's do 5, and we also need to give it a background color, colors dot gray. Now, so we have made a snack bar now, but we haven't yet called it in this function. So what we'll do is we'll do something called scaffold messenger dot off, and this requires context, but we don't have a context in this function. So what we'll do is we'll just add build context as one of the things which we only require to call this function. Dot show snack bar, and we'll just set in the snack bar which we provided. Okay, yeah, so that should work. Let's see. We'll call it here. What text should we give? Please enter both fields, I guess. Please enter both fields, and the context is what we provided, and I think we'll have to add another else here. Get snack bar. We'll just copy this. Yeah. So let's rebuild our application. Let's see how it looks. So we got a snack bar here. I think that looks pretty cool. Please enter both fields to signify the user that they need to enter the both fields. We have a little bit of time. I think what we can do is we'll also add the theme functionality here, right? So what I'm going to do is in the right okay, so in the constants file I'll make a new class called class color constants, and it will have a static list of colors. Yeah, I think that's the correct spelling, and we'll call it color list. And in the color list we'll add K green color, K blue color, K, okay, no, we already done that, red color, K yellow. Element type color can't be assigned to the list type colors. Oh yeah, so this needs to be color. Added another S, my bad. And we'll also create a function called void randomize theme. What this do is, this is color list dot shuffle. We'll shuffle this list. There's still an error though. Try adding a parameter. Oh yeah, my bad. Wow, that was a really dumb mistake. Okay. So now this list will get shuffled. So what we'll do is, in the start screen, we'll just call this color constants dot, I will have to call the class shuffle randomize theme. And here, instead of actually assigning values, what we'll do is, wait, so where does the color start? Yeah, red color. Okay, so this is red. So let's start with, let's keep this our starting theme for the app. So red color is third in the list. So we'll go color constants dot color list. Third will be second index. Just copy this. I've just changed the index from now on. And now this will be the blue color. So blue color is second in the list. So that will be one. We'll have to copy this. So okay, no, we don't have to copy this. Okay, so we'll paste it here. And this was green color, and green color is first in the list. Copy this and just paste it everywhere we need green color. And here we need the red color. Red color was here. No, here. Yeah, the icon was of red color. So we'll just copy that icon color and let's paste this everywhere. Okay, so this is blue color and Tic-Tac-Toe is of blue color. So we'll copy this. Background color is blue. Yeah. And this was, I think, the last color. Yeah. So we'll do color constants of color list, and the last color will be the third index. Let's run the code. Hopefully no error comes. Yeah, that's great. So now we can randomize the theme. We tabbed it but nothing happened. Oh, but if I hot restart it, or hot reload it, then it changes the color. So I think the issue is that it's not updating. So what we'll do is we call a set state here. That's what we were missing here. And now if I restart the app and start from the beginning, the color changes. So now you can have a random theme in your app. So yeah, this was the theme feature which I was talking about, and you can extend this to the next screen also. So I think we're done with the UI now. In the next session, we'll have all the adding the icon and everything, icon to the adding the cross and O to the grid, and calculating the score, resetting the app, and all the logic part of the app. We'll handle that in the next session. So if you guys have any doubt, do ask, and otherwise we'll end the stream. Does anyone have any doubt? Okay, Doshimali. Yeah, so we could have used relative padding units. What do you mean by relative padding units? If you're talking about the front end units, those are not, those don't work in Flutter. I think what was REM and M units, right? Yeah, those units are not in Flutter. So for responsiveness, what we do is we usually scale our unit according to the screen size of the application or of the device. So we're not going to cover that in the course. I think that requires a lot of other work, but you can research it. There are a few libraries that do it for you. Otherwise, you can also create a function for yourself. So yeah, you can definitely search it. If you want, just DM me and I'll send you some resources. Yeah, responsiveness in mobile applications is not not done in the same way as websites. The media query part is the same, I guess. All right, since I don't think anybody has any more doubts, we'll end this session. So yeah, thank you for joining, guys.